Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Today we will study Shah Abdul Latif. Let's read the first part of Shah Abdul Latif Bhitai. Shah Abdul Latif Bhitai, who is lovingly called La Latif by his devotees, was a noted Sindhi Sufi scholar, mystic, saint, and poet. What is the meaning of the word devotees? A person who is very interested in and enthusiastic about someone. So when you are devoted to someone, you are interested in and you are enthusiastic about that person. Mystic. What is the meaning of the word mystic? A Sufi who always contemplates, who is always thinking and wondering on Allah's creations. So Shah Abdul Latif Bhitai was called La Latif by people who were devoted to him, and he was a noted Sufi scholar of Sindh, and Sindhi language was his mastery. He was a mystic, he was a saint, and a poet. He is considered as the greatest Muslim poet of the Sindhi language. Information about his life, about the life of Bhitai, was mostly being collected from oral traditions. A renowned Pakistani scholar, educationist, and writer of plays, dramas, and stories, Mirza Khalid Beg is said to have collected details about the early life of Shah Bhitai from some of the old people living at that time. So Mirza Khalid Beg was a famous, renowned means famous or well-known. So he was a famous Pakistani scholar, educationist, and writer. So in this sentence we are talking about Mirza Khalid Beg. And he was a playwright, he was of dramas and stories, and he was a scholar and educationist. He gathered all the information about Shah Abdul Latif Bhitai from old people. So he collected information through oral traditions. So whatever people told him, he noted that down, and that is how he collected information about Shah Abdul Latif Bhitai. These people had heard these facts from their fathers and grandfathers, some of whom had seen Shah Latif in person and had even spoken to him. So their forefathers had met Shah Latif and they had talked to him and they had seen him. As a Sufi poet, Latif's Urs is held at his shrine every year on 14th Safar, the second month of the Muslim calendar, that is the lunar calendar. Thousands of people gather and listen to the saint's songs sung on the tamburo. Tamburo is an instrument that he created. Many learned men read papers that tell about Latif's life and his poetry. Some of the key aspects shared by different scholars about La Latif are given below, and that is what we are going to study gradually. Aspects means different parts or different features of his life. How was information about Shah Latif's life collected? Why was it collected in this way? You have to read this part of the text carefully and answer this question. Don't forget that your answer has to be 2 to 3 sentences long. The first aspect is the background and family. Shah Latif's ancestral roots lay in Afghanistan. That means his forefathers had come from Afghanistan. Ancestral means belonging to or inherited from an ancestor or ancestors, that is the forefathers. So his forefathers had come from Afghanistan. Some historians say that the Shah's father, Sayyid Habib Shah, so what was his father's name? Sayyid Habib Shah. He migrated from Matiaro. So this is one saying about his background. So he came from Matiaro, his ancestral home in Afghanistan. So some traditions say that he came from Matiaro, which is his ancestral home, to Bhanpur in Sindh. So this is where they came to Sindh in order to gain spiritual contact with Bilawal. And who was Bilawal? A local pious man. So this is one tradition. The other tradition says that his ancestors migrated to Sindh from Herat. So these are two traditions about his background. One says that he came from Matiaro to Bhanpur, and the other says that he came from Herat. Sindh was then a center of Muslim culture, and Shah Latif's ancestors liked it so much that they decided to make it their home. Migrate means to move to a new place for good, that is forever. Spiritual means related to religion or soul. Pious means devoutly religious, very religious, following all the rules and principles of the religion. Now here is a question: where did Shah Latif's forefathers came from, and why did they settle in Sindh? So you will read this part carefully and answer the question. The next aspect is the name Bhitai. How did he get this name? In 1742, Shah Latif left his home and went to live on a mound, which is a small hill, at some distance from his village. A mound of sand is called Bhit in Sindhi. Due to the fact that he lived on the mound for the rest of his life, Shah Latif came to be known as the Saint of Bhit. To this day, he is famous all over the country as Shah Abdul Latif Bhitai or Shah Latif of the Mound. So this is how he got his name, because he lived on the mound, which is called Bhit in Sindhi, and because he was living on that Bhit, he was called Shah Latif of the Bhit, that is Bhitai. Another question: what is the meaning of the word Bhit? How did Shah Latif get this name? Now the third aspect, early life and education. Shah Bhitai was born in 1689 AD, that is 14th Safar 1102 AH, in a small village called Hala Haveli, a few miles to the east of the present town of Bhit Shah. Latif was raised during the golden age of Sindhi culture. His first teacher was Akhund Nur Muhammad Bhitai, but mainly he was self-educated, and Akhund means teacher. Although he received little formal education, the Risalo provides proof that he knew Arabic and Persian quite well. Various references in Shah Risalo indicate that he had in-depth knowledge of the Holy Quran and the Hadith. His poetic collections included the Masnavi of Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi and Shah Karim's poems. Akhund means a religious leader, teacher, or scholar. Raised means that he grew up. Received, got. Provide means shows or manifests. Indicate, show. References, mention of something or someone. In-depth, deep. So he had deep knowledge of Quran and Sunnah, and the Risalo, that is his poetic collection, also manifests or shows that he knew Arabic and Persian very well. Another question. Where and when was Shah Latif born? How did he get his early education? How do we know that he was a learned man, although he did not receive proper formal education? That's all for today. Jazakallah. Allah Hafiz.